It was a cold November evening in Boston, Massachusetts. The city lights shimmered on the wet streets as Daniel Foster, a 33-year-old airline pilot, finished another long international flight. Exhausted, he walked into his quiet apartment, dropped his suitcase by the door, and made himself a cup of coffee. His phone suddenly rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it, but something made him answer. "Hello?" There was silence. Then a soft female voice whispered, "Dad?" Daniel frowned. "I think you have the wrong number." The woman became embarrassed. "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry." She quickly hung up. Daniel smiled and thought nothing more about it. The next evening, the same number called again. "I'm so sorry," the woman laughed. "I saved your number by mistake." Daniel chuckled. "Well, now we're officially strangers who keep talking." Her name was Emily Carter, a 30-year-old children's book illustrator living in Portland, Maine. What started as an accidental phone call slowly became a nightly conversation. Every evening after work, they talked about books, travel, coffee, childhood memories, dreams they had never told anyone. Weeks turned into months. Neither of them had ever seen the other's face. They never exchanged photos. Instead, they promised something unusual. "When we finally meet, it will be a surprise." Daniel liked that idea. He wanted to know her heart before her appearance. Every night before hanging up, Emily always said, "Good night, pilot." Daniel always replied, "Good night, dreamer." Spring arrived. Their phone calls became video calls, but somehow they always found excuses for not turning on the camera. They laughed about it. "It's more romantic this way," Emily would say. One afternoon, Emily received heartbreaking news. Her grandmother, the woman who had raised her, became seriously ill. Daniel immediately flew to Maine on his day off. He had only one clue, the name of the hospital. He searched every hallway until he heard a familiar laugh. He turned. A young woman with chestnut hair was reading a children's storybook beside an elderly woman's bed. Before she looked up, Daniel knew. She turned around slowly. Neither of them needed introductions. Emily smiled through tears. "Pilot," Daniel laughed softly. "Dreamer." For a long moment neither of them spoke. They simply hugged, as if every late-night conversation had been leading to that one moment. Months later, after Emily's grandmother recovered, Daniel planned one final surprise. He invited Emily to Logan Airport, where their story had truly begun. Inside an empty hangar, a small airplane stood decorated with hundreds of tiny paper stars. Each star contained one sentence from one of their late-night phone calls. Emily looked around in amazement. "You remembered everything." Daniel smiled. "I remembered every word." He walked toward her holding a velvet ring box. "You called the wrong number, but somehow you found the right person." He knelt on one knee. "Emily Carter, will you answer one last call for the rest of your life?" Emily laughed through happy tears. "I've been saying yes since the first hello." She slipped the ring onto her finger. Outside the hangar, an airplane lifted into the evening sky. 1 year later, Daniel and Emily were married beside the Atlantic Ocean. At their wedding, guests noticed something unusual. Instead of writing their names in the guest book, everyone was asked to write down one phone number that had changed their life. Above the book, a small sign read, "Sometimes the best love stories begin with the wrong number." And every year on the anniversary of that first accidental call, Daniel would dial Emily's number, even when she was sitting right beside him. she would answer with the same smile and the same first word that changed everything, "Hello," and every time Daniel fell in love all over again.